There's nothing you can do to make me bend my army to your will.
Maybe it's true.
Oh, let's keep it that way. I withdraw the question.
I'm frankly speaking, Andre's no longer available.
How's business?
None of yours.
My name is Sean Hatton. I will be moderating this panel, but for the most part, this is a Q&A, so feel free to ask your questions of Morena. There are microphones on the left and the right side of the auditorium over here, so if you have any questions for her, if you know that you just need to ask her something that she's never been asked before, something that you need to hear from her personally as she looks right into your eyes to answer, you may get up, get ready to ask the questions. We've got people on either side of the auditorium ready to assist you. We're bringing her out shortly. Please give a warm welcome to Morena.
Thank you.
You've done a lot of these Q&As before, I understand.
Quite a few.
Yeah, you're a familiar face in the nerd world.
Yep.
I do use the term nerd with affection.
Me
as,
too.
You know, self-professed nerd. You do take on a lot of roles that would, you know...
Nerd-worthy?
You know, you've done a lot of comic stuff, lots of sci-fi. What attracts you to a role when you get that pitch, hey, we want you in our movie or TV show? What are you looking for?
What will the nerds like? That's my criteria. No, I honestly love you guys very, very much, as you know, because I keep coming to these things. But I just try to find roles that speak to me, that I find interesting in some way, or a challenge, or something that I haven't done before.
Excellent. Something that I think a lot of people have recently seen you in, obviously, is Deadpool, which is absolutely fantastic. Probably one of my favorite Marvel movies. Obviously, this is something that you've been involved in a lot longer than we had, you know, with the production, post-production, whatever parts you needed to do for that. What was it like for you to see the audience reaction to this film?
I have to say I was very surprised. I knew that Deadpool was sort of another sort of cult favorite, as Firefly had been, and I knew the character was not particularly one that people are very familiar with. I wasn't familiar with who he was until I went in and researched the part, and immediately fell in love with the character. He's so, just met him, you know, he's amazing. And so I thought, you know, it's for a specific select group of people who get it, and some people who get it will get it and will love it. But I didn't know that it would be so mainstream, so that was a really big surprise, pleasant one.
Excellent. Well, I'd like to get things rolling since we've got a lineup on either side of the stage. Let's go over here.
Hi, Morena.
Where are you? Hold on.
It's coming from over there.
Oh, hi.
Like many millions of people who love Deadpool, I found it hard to be able to contain my laughter throughout most of the movie. Was there a scene that you were filming with Ryan that no matter how many times you try to fill, you would just keep breaking character, or you or Ryan would keep breaking characters?
Every scene, basically. Seriously, I mean, going to work was so much fun, and we worked really hard. You know, you have to really be on it, be familiar with the character, familiar with the script, in order to be able to play around like that. And he was just so great at one-liners, but you know, he works very meticulously, and it was really, really fun, but it was a lot of hard work.
Thank you. All right, let's go switch things up. Let's go to this side.
Hi, thanks for being here.
Hi.
I had the pleasure of attending Jewel State's panel in this same room on Friday, and she shared with us a story about when you were shooting Serenity.
Okay.
And she tricked you into going onto the Van Helsing haunted house. What I was hoping is if we could hear that story from your perspective, and if there are any other fun...
We were shooting at Universal for Serenity, and there was a scene we were waiting to start shooting, but it was, whatever they were at the moment shooting was taking a lot longer than anticipated, and so we were sitting in our trailers pretty bored for hours and hours and hours, and Jewel was like, let's go to Universal Studios and go on the rides. So we somehow got permission from production to let us go away for an hour or two. And she, of course, wanted to do everything I didn't want to do. I am a wuss when it comes to roller coasters or rides or anything. I mean, it's not my thing. Yeah, and she, of course, wanted to do everything that I didn't want to do. So there was one Van Helsing, she's like, it's gonna be really stupid. Just go in, and I was like, no, I really don't want to. It's gonna creep me out. I'm not gonna sleep for days. She's like, I don't remember how she got me in there, but she did, and it was one of the most terrifying moments of my life. I am such a sucker for that stuff, and I remember this midget strapped to a bungee cord flying at me through the air, and he stopped literally here and got bounced back, and I was like, I'm out. And I just like walked away. It was horrifying.
That guy doesn't even work there.
Trying to torture me.
Does that line up with what Jewel said? Yes or no?
Yes, very much. Yes.
All right. Good to know. Good to know. We got our story straight.
Hi. I just want to say I've loved you actually for a long time. I first started watching you on V and then continued watching you on Firefly and Deadpool.
Thank you.
Recently Gotham with my dad. So I was just wondering, with Gotham, like, was there any like a particular scene that you loved to film?
I really am enjoying the show. It's such a different relationship and dynamic that I've ever played. I really enjoyed that whole episode with the circus people and Jerome and the snake charmer and all that stuff. That whole episode was really, really fun. And there was a scene that Ben and I shot where we were looking for this hatchet in the middle of the night, and it was kind of a fun, funny scene between us, but also just really tense. So that was a blast.
All right, Robin.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Keaton, this is my sister Scarlett.
Hi.
We were both wondering if you know what Pokemon Go is, and if so, do you play it?
It's impossible to not know what it means because of everything that's going on, but I do not play. I am fascinated by it. Do you play? I think you do.
Are there any Pokemon on stage right now that we should be aware of, or are you guys ready?
Really sucks for Pokemon!
Oh. But it's awesome for Q&As, right? All right, Miss on this side.
Hello.
Hi.
I asked Jewel State the same question, and I want to know your response. When you were filming Serenity, how did you feel when you learned that Wash was going to die?
Whoa, spoiler alert.
We were all shocked and appalled. But you know, when it comes to Joss, people kind of die all the time. They come back all the time. But there was suddenly, like, when we were reading the script and you're reading it and you're like, oh. And then you're going, wait, who's next? And then you just keep reading, like, am I going to go next? Nobody ever felt safe. But we knew there was a possibility that, you know, were there sequels, that it's potentially, he wasn't going to really be gone. I think. That's my opinion. No, but Justin never told me that, but that's what I think.
Does knowing when you're reading a script that your character is going to get killed off or something terrible is going to happen to you have any bearing on whether you decide to go to a Van Helsing haunted house or not?
I never want to do one of those ever again. So
Understood. On this side of the stage.
I love doing Serenity, and my fiance made me watch all the Firefly. It's like, huge fan.
He sounds horrible.
No, he's not. Anyway, after I watched the movie, I watched the series, I wanted to know how you felt. You never got to marry Nathan Fillion.
That's what you think. I love him. We're all very good friends, and you know, Unfortunately, our story, our characters never really got fulfilled, but we all get to see each other quite a bit. It's really nice.
I think there might be some Tumblr blogs devoted to that kind of stuff. Yes, sir.
Hello, Morena.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. Just had a quick question. Obviously, with your roles, both in Nara and then Vanessa and Deadpool, you have these strong female characters that are beautiful, obviously, because you're playing them, but also like... I had to get that in there, come on. But also had a sensual aspect to them, but without being objectified. In particular, like Nara was like the heart and soul of the show, and with Vanessa as well, it's not about her just being this attractive woman. I just want to ask you a question as a hardworking female actor. How did you manage to succeed without being objectified in Hollywood? Do you find that's still a struggle for the up-and-coming female actors out there?
I think it just depends on how you represent yourself and what you want to do and the roles you want to take. You know, there are plenty of roles that I could take that would not be so strong or emotionally driven, you know, that would be just about sex or just about violence or whatever it is, the subject matter. But it's important to me that I don't play those roles. And so it's just, you know, you don't often get to choose your jobs, but you can choose the things you don't do.
Thank you so much.
That's good advice for everyone.
Hi. So you've been in so much sci-fi now. Is there a world that you've been a part of, a time that you just fell in love with?
There are several. Firefly was a very, very special time for all of us. It was my first TV job, and it was a really, really special moment in my time. I feel similarly, you know, about every job that I take has a special meaning. There are jobs that are just jobs, but the ones that you guys are fans of is because probably there's a lot of love put into it. You know, Gotham is an amazing time, you know, it's an amazing show to be a part of, an amazing time in my life, and similarly Deadpool was just an incredible character and an incredible world to dive into. So there's always just a little bit of specialness to everything.
Thank you.
Hi. Love your work in Homeland. Love. And also, I fell in love with you with The V. And can you talk to any kind of memorable scenes or events while filming The V?
The V. Yes. Let's see. I once played a really bad joke on Laura Vandervoot. Played my daughter on that. Okay, guys, this is kind of R-rated, so your kids, earmuffs. We would get fan mail a lot on set, and we decided, what if we would get some pretty lewd ones occasionally, which we would just throw it out and whatever. This is not an encouragement, by the way. So Laura, who is so sweet and so, no offense, Canadian, she's the nicest person in the whole wide world, wouldn't hurt a fly. I, being who I am, decided to play a prank on her. So mean of me. But anyway, I created a fake fan letter that had really bad things in it. But I won't tell you specifically what it was. And put it in an envelope and just wrote, like, I want to have your babies or something. And addressed it to her and put a stamp on it. I did the whole thing. And had production deliver it, like, to her chair, and I just watched, and her reaction was just like, it was pretty awesome for me.
Did she find out it was from you?
Yeah, eventually I told her. I felt bad. She hasn't got me back yet. I'm still waiting.
It's very Canadian of you to feel bad about a prank.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi.
Big fan. I love you in Deadpool and Firefly, and I also got really excited when I saw you in Spy, which I watched.
Oh, thanks.
Love that. So I have kind of a silly question. I asked Jewel and Alan the same question. If you were stuck on a desert island with anyone from the cast of Firefly, who would you want to be stuck with?
Just one? I get to be just one person? Yeah, that's hard. You're gonna, you tell me their answers after I tell you mine?
They didn't really give me any straight answers.
Ah, fascinating. Then I won't either. No, honestly, that is a really hard question. You know, it depends on what's going on. Like, what are the tools like, we need on that island?
And what's the environment of the island? Is it a desert island? Is it like an ice island? Like, what world from Super Mario?
Is it an ice cream island?
Ice cream island.
Like, what is it? If it was an ice cream island, I would not invite Jewel because she would eat it all. If it was a desert island, I might invite, you know, Nathan or Alan, because they're strong and they can build things and do things and get me stuff. Yeah. If it was like a crocodile island, I would like maybe take Summer and just feed her to the crocodile. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, so my question is about the couple of episodes that you did in The Mentalist. I really loved that you kind of played a villain, and it was kind of like, it was interesting because Patrick Jane had a special relationship with you, didn't really consider you as a villain. What was it like to be on that show?
It was fun. It was a really fun character because she was constantly striding the line between, you know, super shady, like what was she doing, and being so sort of self-righteous and like, I'm doing the right thing, you know. She was not necessarily a good person, but I liked that she drew people in and made them like her despite the fact that they knew she committed murder or whatever it was that she did. So it was really fun. It was fun to go there and play that character, and those guys are also nice. It was a pleasure being part of the show. I'm glad they kept asking me back.
Thank you. I think you're really pretty.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. First of all, welcome to Toronto.
Thank you.
I've seen you, introduced you with Firefly, and then saw you last in Deadpool. I wonder about Copycat. Are you signed for Copycat, and will that be next year's Harley Quinn?
Oh. I honestly don't know what their intentions are for my character on Deadpool.
It's got to be you.
Well, okay, calm down. We are shooting a sequel at some point next year, I think, and I have been told, as of now, I am in it. I don't know how far they will take my character, so I don't know that I will get to do Copycat. I hope so, but Vanessa is in it. So.
As far as I know, we can do it to Copycat, and then someone else will stand in for the transformation.
Got it. I'll let them know that.
Hi. I was wondering, in the final fight in Serenity, everyone else had their blades and guns, chains, grenades. How did you feel about having the bow? It seemed to me an elegant weapon for an elegant lady.
You know, thank you. Originally, that was just a bow and arrow. Like, it was a plain bow and arrow, and then it turned into this CGI bow weapon that I could just shoot. So I did hours of archery training, and when we went to shoot it, I think I killed a few reavers with my arrow, a couple of arrows, and the camera guys were like all lined up. You know, they wanted a shot of like the arrow flying right to the camera, and so they were all lined up, and they all put up this massive protective plastic gear all over the camera, all over their faces. Like, I looked out into a sea of like goggles and gear, and I was like, what are you guys trying to say? I was like, give me a mark, give me an X, and they put it on there. I hit that thing every time. But then we changed it to just like a thing where I push and then, you know, just like an electronic thing. So,
You made it look so good that it was unbelievable. And
thanks, exactly.
Basically what
Exactly.
Hi, I was wondering what your experience was like on Stargate.
Thank you. It was fun. It was a show that had been very well established by the time that I went on, but they were really nice and very bonded, and it was a smooth transition. I had a hard time at first with the lenses I had to wear because my eyes were orange. In the first couple of episodes, they had a contact that I had to wear, and my eyes just did not do well with it. It was like, at the end of the day, it was all red and scratchy and watery, to the point where I showed up to work and I was like, I can't open my eyes. So they ended up having to do it CGI after the fact. because it was just hurting. But it was a fun show, and you know, again, really fun to be that evil. That's sweet and that evil at the same time.
Hi. I love your character in Homeland.
Thank you.
So can you maybe talk about playing that role or maybe acting with Claire?
Sure. I loved it. It was really fun. It was really emotionally challenging and rewarding at the same time. I loved having those scripts. They were really, really looked forward to getting a script and getting every episode, and I would read it like I wasn't even on the show. And it was really challenging to allow yourself to go to those places that are just not very uncomfortable and not very fun for so long. And working with Damien and Claire was phenomenal. They're very hard workers, and Claire's a very dear friend, and we've just kept in touch over the years.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering if you had any advice for young, up-and-coming actors, any tips for us?
Sure. I come from, acting school and being classically trained, and I feel that there are a lot of pros and cons to it. Obviously, it depends what kind of acting you want to do. But I would say, just sign up for classes, sign up for different kinds of things. You never know where your strengths are going to lie. Take theater classes, take film classes, take commercial classes, take voice character classes, take comedy classes. Just get into it and do as much as possible, because you're going to grow and learn through everything, and you'll learn what you're bad at, what you're good at, what you would love doing, and go for it.
Thank you.
There's a lot of good schools for that in Toronto if you are local, by the way.
Hi. So, as you said, you do a lot of cons and fan expos and stuff like that. As we all know, there can be some characters here. So, I was wondering, what's your weirdest or funniest fan experience?
I think it was when we met backstage, actually.
Let's leave that out.
Yeah, let's
leave that out. I'm not going to tell them what you did. I have to say, everybody is usually very nice. There's occasionally a few people you're like, okay, get out of here. Don't need to see you again. But since Deadpool coming out, I've had quite a lot of ring pop proposals. That's been fun. But yeah, that's probably the funniest thing that's happened lately. And that's good, because mild is good. Keep that in mind.
Hi. Hi. I just wanted to ask, what was your favorite scene of playing in Deadpool?
Have you seen Deadpool?
Yeah.
Really? Where are your parents? My favorite scene... things I can talk about. I actually really like the first scene that you see my character in, the bar scene, where we're one-upping each other on terrible things that have happened to us. It's, I think, very, very funny, very well-written scene. That was my audition scene, actually, for the movie, and it never strayed from that. That has always been that scene. And occasionally, at the very end, Ryan would make up bizarre, crazy things to say. And when I'm laughing at the end of that scene, I'm genuinely cracking up at him.
Thank you.
Did you know about the stinger at the end of that film, by the way? I don't know how much of the script you're getting. Yeah?
About them adding that to the end?
Yeah,
that was not in the script. That was something they added on later. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hi. So I've been to a couple of panels this weekend, and our running theme kept being craft service on set. So I was wondering what the best craft service experience you had was and what was the worst.
It's just different every day. But yeah, you're like working somewhere for like 14, 15 hours. It's sort of like the fridge at home when you're home all day. You just are constantly going there, even though you're not even hungry. It's just something to do, right, at a certain point. It's a place where people stand and talk and socialize. It's nice to have delicious food, healthy food when you want it, amazing ice cream when you don't. But I don't know that I've had a bad experience. experience. I mean, the bad experience is like, okay, I'm gonna walk away. I'm not gonna eat that thing that's been sitting there for 12 hours. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. When I was in Morocco shooting the red tent, I was in the desert, and I kid you not, it was like 98 degrees every day. We're in a tent. There's flies everywhere. Craft service was a table about this big in the tent where the actor chairs were, and they would just leave out about 10 plates of cucumbers, tomatoes, celery, and tuna. Just some tuna fish salad on a plate. All day. In the heat. With some flies buzzing around.
And for those who don't know, like days on set can be really, really long. Like,
really long. So like 10 hours in, you didn't want to sit in those chairs anymore. That was pretty gross.
They were in the same room, in the same tent.
Pretty gross.
Right. Someone didn't think that through.
Nope.
So, just a side story. I've been on a lot of sets doing interviews, behind the scenes type of stuff. Are there always boiled eggs? It's like every set I've been on, there's like a bowl of pre-peeled boiled
That's
eggs.
like for breakfast, right? Like the morning part of the day?
It's always there.
Is it always there?
Yeah. Or at least on Toronto sets.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't worked in it here. I haven't done it. We have them in the morning until about noon, and then they go away. Because who wants a boiled egg that's been sitting there all day?
It's suspicious.
Yeah.
Hi. Of all the characters you've played, which do you think you relate to the most?
It's a trick question. I relate to aspects of all characters that I play. I think otherwise I wouldn't be able to play them if I couldn't understand them or have a way in to them. Take that with a grain of salt, because when I think of characters like, you know, hallowed are the Ori, you know, what's her face, Adria, or, you know, Anna and V, I'm like, maybe I don't want to say that. But there are aspects of those characters that you could rationalize as being parts of me, I guess. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
From what I've heard, last minute with shooting Deadpool, Fox slashed the budget. Did this cause any like flashbacks to Firefly? And can you describe the sort of sense on set of everyone trying to pull together to make the movie happen?
To be honest, I'm not familiar with that. I didn't have that experience. Maybe it's something that happened right before we started shooting, because we pretty much knew what we were doing at the time that a movie gets going, and you have a budget that you need to do the things that you need to do. They definitely, it's a small budget for the kind of movie that it is, and they did miracles with the money. It looks amazing. But hopefully our second one will have a bigger budget. I didn't feel it because it was, what I loved about it was that it felt like a small movie. So when we were shooting it, it felt like it was more about the humor, more about the script, more about, and less about like just the action, just the big, huge fight scenes, which there were plenty of. But it was, I felt, was more creative than your typical superhero movie. So maybe that helps.
Hi. I was wondering that most recently, a lot of conversations about sex work and sex workers have come into public discourse, and I wondered what your thoughts about Inara's character, the respect that she was given, really started that conversation, and what you thought of that.
I think Joss did a great job creating that world. And what was super interesting to me about that character in that world was that she was the only one on that ship who did something honest for a living. That's the character he created, and that I think is incredibly smart because it immediately takes away from the taboo of it all, and the ritual with which he gave, to her clients and the way she does things just made it a job, something that could be seen as, like theater or like, just a different profession. And so I think he did a really phenomenal job addressing that issue.
Hi, so in Gotham, obviously, your character probably isn't super fond of Barbara.
We go out all the time.
And I was just wondering what it was like filming
loving that scene in Arkham when she's in the coma and you sort of have that moment with her. If there's anything that was running through your head.
You know, funny enough, that scene was written with me just walking over to her and slapping her.
I was wondering.
And for some reason, the day of, they decided it was too much.
Oh.
And they thought I should just, you know, grab her face and say bitch or whatever it was. But I walked over, I slapped her, and I said bitch. And I was like, can we just do one take? Just one time? And they're like, yeah, we'll do it at the end. And then we never did it. And I think personally it would have been a lot better if that happened.
I would have enjoyed it.
I'm still waiting for it. I do slap somebody this season. You'll have to wait and see who. It's a good one.
We've just gotten the 10-minute mark warning, so if you've got questions, please make your way to either of the microphones.
Hi, you've had a lot of roles with characters that just had a lot going on with them emotionally. I just wondered if you had any character or scene with one you just had a lot of trouble kind of getting into the right mindset to give a good performance for it.
Yeah, it happens occasionally. You know, I just shot a scene the other day that I was not particularly proud of. I just felt like I wasn't connected emotionally. You just sometimes don't have it. You're tired or distracted and, you know, with kids at home or thinking about what's happening and you somehow can't tap the well. And I felt not great about it, but you know, what's interesting is the director and people who were there that day were like, wow, you did a great job in that scene. And I go, really? And they're like, yeah, it's great, we got it, you know? And it doesn't matter what I feel at the end of the day. If you guys get it, and if somebody's watching and they get the message and they feel emotionally connected to it, then I've done my job.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Morena, thanks very much for coming. Was a huge fan of Firefly and Serenity when it originally came out, and just watched it recently with my girlfriend. She loved it too. I wanted to ask you though about Deadpool. With the success of an R-rated comedy like that, do you think that there will be a bigger impact on Hollywood in general and bringing those types of films to the public?
Absolutely, I think it's already starting. You know, there's this buzz going around, like, why is Deadpool so successful? What have they done that we haven't done? And ironically, everybody's trying to come up with the formula. You know, how do we do that again? When there was no formula. The reason why it works is because it makes fun of itself. It is honest, it's in your face. It's not trying to be precious or, you know, trick you into feeling something. Like it just is, it's there, it's truthful.
And a big reason why it works is on stage right now too.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, I love your work, and what I want to know is when are you getting a lead role?
Thank you. I don't know. We've got to take that up with the man upstairs. I don't know. Let's hope soon.
I was wondering what you have for brekkie this morning, and if you were overly keen on it, what would your ideal brekkie be?
Okay. I had a yogurt parfait from Starbucks. It was alright. It's a little too sweet for my taste. My ideal, I like avocado toast with a soft boiled egg on top. Yep. You're welcome.
I had 2 breakfasts, but I know she didn't ask me, and I'm just the breakfast enthusiast.
It's the best meal of the day. I can have it all day long.
When you feel Deadpool,
Okay, your parents out there need to stop sending their kids to Deadpool.
when you took off the mask in the movie, was that your first time actually seeing his face in the movie?
Well, the first thing I saw was that Hugh Jackman face. That was pretty funny. It was not my personally first time seeing it. I'd seen him on set several times, and little movie magic trick that I'm going to let you in on. The mask, the Deadpool mask, could not be put over that, what I call pizza face, because it would ruin the prosthetics and it would get pulled off. So we had to shoot that scene, that very last scene in the movie, over 2 days, which was a little tough. So we did the first half where he's in the mask up to me pulling the mask off. And then the next day we came back, he put on that prosthetic, which took about 5 or 7 hours to do. And then he put the mask sort of halfway on, like just hold it there, and I did the movement of taking it off. And then we did the rest of the scene.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Not the most conducive to a good emotional journey, because you're having to like do it over and over again.
Hi. I was just wondering, do you follow like the Firefly comics, like the ones made by Dark Horse?
Yeah, I have seen a few of them.
Okay, so now that like there's kind of like a source material, let's say if, like there's a miracle and like they ask you guys to like continue. Like,
every con, every time.
I'm sorry, I just have to ask it, you know.
You're right, it would take a miracle, but you know, you never know. Miracles happen every day.
So you would like definitely go for it if it.
I mean, why not?
Hi, Morena, big fan.
Thank you.
I was wondering, for Firefly related, what's your favorite associated paraphernalia with Firefly that's been produced, toy-wise or game-wise or role-playing wise? Because I personally have, one of my favorites is the Firefly role-playing game, and I hope to one day soon run a game of that at Gen Con maybe. So I was wondering what your personal favorite is, toy-wise or associated.
Yeah, is that the role-playing game? That's that big book. Right?
The big book. A lot of words.
I love that. Yeah, it was a lot of words. It's intimidating. I love that book. It's so beautifully done. And I think it's really fun because you get to get immersed into our quote-unquote lives in Firefly. So that's, I think, really fun for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we got another on this set.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, are there any roles that you were reluctant to take?
Reluctant to take. Yeah, I mean, the roles that I'm reluctant to take, I typically don't take them. Seriously, I mean, you know, if I'm having something where I'm like, I don't know about this, I won't do a good job. I just know that there's something that's, you know, keeping me from doing it. I'm trying to think of an example of that, of something that has come out.
Any of the ones that
I've done?
That you've done so far?
No. I did this movie called Sands of Oblivion. Please don't watch it. I was reluctant to do that one, I'll be honest. It was a paycheck, but Adam was in it too, Adam Baldwin. No, you don't.
You shouldn't have said
You
that.
really don't. It's got like one that's really bad. I'm gonna stop talking about it, but.
Thank you.
You've done a lot of both television, series television, and then film work. What do you like doing more? Is there something that you can only get from series television, and something that you only get from film?
I like having a balance of both because TV series gives you sort of the illusion of a steady job as an actor, which is really nice. But also you get to play out a character over a long period of time and in various different situations. So that's always fun. And getting a new script is like, oh, it's like doing a little mini movie all the time. But doing a film is great because you have the script, you know what you're doing, you know what your schedule is for the next 2 or 3 months, and you're telling a complete story start to finish. There's something very satisfying about that.
Sorry, this mic isn't conducive to short people. There we go. Is there any book or play that you would like to see adapted to the big screen that you would like to be in?
I just started reading My Brilliant Friend, the Ferrante novel. It's an Italian book. I don't know if any of you guys have read it. It is unbelievable. It's a 4-book, not trilogy, because it's 4. It's a 4-book, whatever that's called. Saga, thank you. Epic tale. It's beautiful, so I would love to see that.
Thank you.
We have time for just one more question, I'm afraid. All your questions have been amazing. You over here?
I feel bad. My question's not going to be that amazing.
Well, sorry to put that on you. No pressure.
I was wondering, because I was in a
Kate Mulgrew, and she had a very funny story of the things she took from the Star Trek set. Do you have a funny story of something that you took from any of your sets?
I've taken things here and there. I won't lie to you. Tuna. Lots of tuna. I took some tea sets from Firefly from my shuttle. That was really special. There's a kimono I really wanted, but I didn't get it. Damn it. I think they auctioned those off, so if anybody's got it, let me know. It's a blue one. I've taken some nice wardrobe pieces from shows that I feel like I need to own those heels. They need to come home with me. I took Vanessa's boots.
Thank you.
They make it for you.
I mean, who else is going to wear it?
All right, everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.